I have an Airtable base and I want to create an interface where the user can click onto it and download the Airtable data as CSV files. I want them to have the latest data. I want them to have access to only specific columns perhaps, and I want this all to be available in an Airtable interface. Here's a really cool way of doing it. So this is my base. It's got some products here. Let's say I want to create a view where we're filtered down to just office furniture. I've got the view here. I want this to be available as a bulk CSV download for, let's say, an external client who doesn't use Airtable. I want that to be available in my interface. This is how I go about it. So I'm going to create a new interface here. I'll just call it data export. Leave file icon there. I'll just create a blank interface where I'm just going to create one button for the purposes of this demo. And the button is going to go here, and I'm going to use a destination URL. So if I have the option go to external URL, I need a destination URL, and where CSV Getter fits in nicely to a lot of automation processes, data export, data backupping, and of course this is it allows you to easily create the URLs needed to complete these processes. So here's the product, and you can see I've got the URLs I've made readily available. Once I've logged in and given the product the access it needs to my Airtable, it's very easy just to create a new one of these URLs. The base I'm interested in was the product catalog, and the table was furniture, and the view I mentioned was just office furniture. So I'm going to create an export link for this. I'm going to call it just office furniture. CSV Getter allows you to see dynamically what your URL is going to be exporting, and this is great from a security standpoint because you can really lock down what data this export link is going to be delivering. And for example, if this is going externally, you don't necessarily want them to see all fields. Obviously, you can select all fields if you'd like, but let's say in this case, I only want the person who's going to be using this button, downloading this file, to have access to, let's say, a name, a size, materials, and color. All this data is coming through live from Airtable, and when the export URL is used and the CSV file is downloaded, all that data is going to be live as well. So my data is ready. This is what I want them to be downloading from my Airtable interface. There's the URL I need. So I'm going to use this in my interface. Back over in Airtable, I'm going to paste in my destination URL. And I'm going to tweak the appearance of my button. So I want it to be green. I want it to say download data as CSV. And let's expand this out a bit so it looks clear to what they're doing. Now we can go into preview mode and see it in action. And you can see I've downloaded my data as CSV there. File is opened, and those are the columns I've selected. And that's all the rows that were in the view, so that's the full download there, readily available. And this is what the CSV Getter product will allow you to do. There's more you can do, of course. Let's say I want to create a new button underneath called, well, the nice thing about CSV Getter URLs is you can change the nature of the URL and what it's displaying by adding these handy URL parameters, so you don't even need to tweak the URL in the interface. If I take my CSV Getter download URL and add the simple parameter at the end, type equals dynamic table, we're not going to be parsing a CSV file here. We're going to be displaying an HTML page showing the table data. And this has, for example, pagination, it's got search capabilities, so you could make this available to the user of your interface as well. And that's just by copying the URL just with this parameter at the end and making this the destination URL. And it might be handy to open it as a new tab as well. So let's say I could call this button search data. And there we have a new button where the person can go on, and they're not necessarily downloading it straight away. They're actually viewing the data in a new tab, and they can have a play around with it, and they can have a search. So there's many ways, there's many new parameters coming out for CSV Getter, where you can basically view the data in different ways. I've had some features before where people have basically plotted the data just by selecting their fields in the interface and adding sort of a plot parameter here, stuff that you want to make available. And there's more coming, there's more in the pipeline as well. URL parameters are very easy to kind of bolt on. So if you have any custom ways that you'd like this data to come out of these URLs and you'd like to sort of request a specific parameter to add to be able to do that, this is something that we do. The app is designed to be very modular. It's designed to fit into processes like this and complete automation tasks without you, the user, needing to write any code. And it is available on request, so you can message me at gavin@csvgetter.com. Any other questions about the product, please get in touch anytime.